So yeah, basically, we're going to be talking today. I'm going to talk today about Lightdash and JustWatch. So how we actually cross-buy, how we actually integrate that, and what actually our impressions about it. A few words about me. So Aleksandr Zolotukhin, Sasha, 20 years already doing the BI, 7 years doing parenting, and 10 years doing husband stuff and being free eBay delivery, for my wife. Yeah, so this is basically what we're going to talk about. What is Lightdash, where, how, and basically why, and then basically actually how it went for us. Obviously start with the JustWatch, what we are here. JustWatch is a streaming guide. So for our consumers, it's a streaming, it's a navigation for the content so they can stay up to date about all the movies and TV shows they're interested in multiple subscriptions. We are international, more than 100 countries, 140. And that's on the B2C side. On the B2B part, we work with the studios directly, with the movie studios, with the streaming services, and help them advertise content based on our experience, competence, and also first-party tracking and audiences. And also, we actually have sports here. It's not on the slide. Let's talk about Lightdash. So what it is. This has been borrowed from Lightdash itself. That's what they say, and we're going to unwrap it in the slides later. Open source platform, BI platform built for teams to collaborate. And there are several very key components about it, and we will dive deeper in the next slides, but basically that's in a few words about Lightdash. Important, it's open source, it's public, it's native to dbt, easy to CI/CD, and resolved around the self-service. Right. Where the Lightdash fits into infrastructure. So it's a reporting platform, as you saw, but I'm going to show the overall picture here of architecture. Everything starts with the warehouse. In our case, it's Snowflake. Yeah, pretty happy with the product itself. Please being cool, great, and also thanks for the swag on this table. Anything can be here, but like Snowflake it's an experience of JustWatch, so JustWatch is Snowflake. And obviously, data in, you have some backend database, you have buckets, you have some other frameworks. For example, for us, we use Snowplow as a tracking, first-party tracking framework. Everything comes in, and obviously use dbt. Out and in, we model it. Basically, if you don't still use dbt, well, time to start. Where the Lightdash is here. Basically, obviously, it's a reporting platform. It sits on top of your data, but in this case, it also reads metadata directly from your dbt repository, dbt code project, and basically query database based on metadata you have on your dbt. And we will unwrap it also in the later slides. And Lightdash is basically our front-end platform for our end users, not only consume reports, but also explore data in free manner. Why Lightdash? So this is actually the most packed slide with a lot of words here. So please bear with me. The other ones are going to be not so packed. Like around a year ago, we were in a position we had to switch our reporting platform for various reasons. But basically, after we decided to commit to that, we went for listing the reasons, listing the goals we want to achieve on this migration project. And you can see here, basically, self-service is important. We were not looking for the platform from another platform that only BI can use to develop content. So we're looking for something that our end users can utilize and collaborate between themselves. That's what I call self-service. Majority of our users are not technical people. We also keep this in mind. So no SQL knowledge, no Python knowledge have to be basically covered. In our previous platform, we didn't really have a great developer experience, means no CI/CD support, no version control, and we wanted to actually have the solved a new one. dbt support, yeah, basically, as we were super in dbt, we want to leverage on this. Pricing, obviously. And other things mostly about culture and being transparent in the community, obviously. So we went through the pretty deep evaluation process, and there were several companies we were considering, and we've done POC with the 3 of them. Some of them had more ticks, some of them less, but basically Lightdash covered all the cases. Self-service. The whole UX is resolved about self-service, so that's tick. We're also going to see based on our feedback from the users, they didn't have really big issues to explore it. So basically, that's also a tick. it's not like just Lightdash has it. Other platforms also had it, but it had more. I'm gonna also show you. So there is a rich, pretty easy to use command line interface that you can leverage to implement your CI/CD pipelines. So basically, there is no need to replicate your business logic in several places. In this case, dbt is actually the source for all the metadata. So that's tick. Pricing, as it's open source, you can host yourself. Basically, you just pay for hosting, or you can go for managed solution. Actually, in our case, we went for managed solution, and it starts. I just checked today. It's $600 per month, and it's flat price. So you don't really care about how many users you have, how many queries they do. It's just flat. Everything is GitHub. So you have issues, you have roadmaps, everything's transparent. You can go anytime. You can actually enter new issues. You can communicate with them. And yeah, also in Slack. Yeah, culture just ticks for us. So it's not really enterprise-ish. It's not ticket mentality. And I just loved how we communicate even during the pre-sales integration. They're just responsive and helpful. And basically, community itself. It's growing. Last time I checked, it was way less. Now it's 1,400 for Lightdash itself. And in dbt Slack community, it's 700. Right. How does it work? Pretty easy, actually. So everything starts, I'm going to go through a small Hello World example here. So we have sessions, let's say, and we have countries. You want to join them and slice and dice based on some attributes. Okay, so everything starts with the model. Sessions on the right, countries on the left. I mean, you have it already in your dbt. Then you have a choice, because you need to actually tell your Lightdash how it connects, what metrics are. The first way is going Lightdash meta way, let's say. I don't know if there's actually a term for this. Another way, you can, if you in dbt cloud, you can actually use semantic layer. Lightdash can connect to it and basically utilize it. In our case, we're on dbt core, so we go for meta way. Next step, you have your dbt model documentation. I mean, you probably recognize that. And if you don't, you probably need to double down on your documentation. So this is where you have your models, description, tests, all the columns. In that case, you need to add extra meta tags. So in this case, it's a model metadata. You can label, give a family name. You can say which particular folder it is. And here it's about the columns, type, and if it's hidden or not, maybe some other things. This is how it joins. Basically, you say model joins model, easy. You can specify if it's inner join, left join, outer join, whatever you want, and also give an expression. It could be not just equal, it could be something else. This is how we do metrics, pretty simple. On the left, you can see we have sessions and number of distinct users. Basically, on the column of session ID, user ID, you say, like, is it count or just count distinct? In our case, every row is a session, so count the sessions. Distinct is of user ID is users. And on the right, you have some metrics that are not really column specific. In this case, is like ratio of how many sessions per user. And I made small recording. So once you have it, yeah, skip one. This is how we deploy. So once you have it already, you save it. You just do Lightdash deploy, select your models, I mean, the way you like it. And then you can create a new project if you want. And in 10, 15 seconds, you have a link that you can take and reshare with everyone that you want to check it out. Next, small video. Let's see, it works. Yes, it works. So this is how it looks when you open it. You can create charts, basically interact with the measures, with the attributes, with the filters, see the SQL behind it, compose some particular charts, pretty intuitive. So you compose the charts, you can save it, and already after that, you can share them with the people. Next, you start with composing dashboards that are basically just tiles from multiple tiles stitched together from charts that you either already pre-create or you actually create on the fly right here. You add the filters based on attributes, any filters. Those are predefined, but also users can add later some new ones if they want. And this is how they interact with this. It's 2x speed, so it's actually not that taking long, even in real time. Drill down and export to CSV so they can put in Excel and do the pivot tables as usual. How this works in the continuous environments. So let's say you just want to test it out. You don't want to push it anywhere. You just want to, like, you have it in your code. So you bring it in your dbt, I mean, in Lightdash semantics, and you just use preview for command line interface in Lightdash. that already gives you a URL that you can basically already share with someone, and you can also open yourself and explore how these changes are looking without even pushing anywhere. If you're talking about Git, basically push it to the branch, then CI/CD pipeline kicks on, and then you can implement easily the validate function, so it will not pass if something fails because of the Lightdash specific things. Then if it passes, you do the Lightdash preview, and also creates a new project that you can later share with the stakeholders so they can check it out before you actually move to production. For master, only a few things change. Validate you still do, and then instead of preview, you do deploy, and that puts things into your production project, and basically everyone is ready to go. That's pretty easy, and that's it. So then how we actually went with how it went for us, the migration itself. So this is a monthly active user chart. The red is the old platform, the blue one is the Lightdash. And also a little context, the JustWatch itself is about 150 people. So yeah, I could probably change the scale a little bit, but you can see that we started doing the integration July last year, and in the first months already we have beaten the old platform by the users, and basically you can see the scale here. So it really got adopted very fast. And how we achieve that? Basically, we decided not to really do the massive trainings for the whole company. We found super proactive, let's say, data champions from the smaller teams. We sold the Lightdash to them. We didn't need to sell the idea of self-service because we already had a self-service platform, so they knew the value of that. But we sold the platform, Lightdash itself, to them, explained basically what's why and how, and basically how to use it to create content. And they leveraged, went to the teams, create some reports for the teams, smaller ones, specific ones, and basically they just start using this. The main content creators, not the BI. BI obviously made some reports, but those are not, majority of the content we have. So that was the idea. That's how we rolled out. It worked very well. And yeah, last month, actually half a month, I decided still to keep it because even with the half month, it's almost as high. Some feedback impressions from our end users. I need to say those all are non-technical users. So they really didn't have any experience with how writing any code. And basically you can see it's fast, it's independent, it's intuitive, all the things. And I do, when I was looking into this, I realized pictures look very kind of, fishy, but those are real people, true. And this also looks very positive, nothing negative. There were some negative comments, but all those negative comments, they were either about content, which has nothing to do with the platform. It was about BA messing up, or people just didn't like the idea that they had to change platform. I mean, okay, some habits. But in the end, they all became friends. Okay, what next for Lightdash? They are quite busy. So basically, in my experience, like in the last year of using it, almost every week they deploy and release a new feature. And it's not just cosmetics, it's a really functional feature. And right now they're working pretty much on adding more features to the modeling. So you can have cover some edge cases. For example, I was missing some JASM trap. I mean, coming from some other background, JASM trap realization in the modeling. So that's what they're actually working right now. Making a bit more granular how you control the access to content. Table calculations V2 means it's what end users, business users can do when they make a report. So it's like no code, low code calculations on your answer. So like even non-technical people can do some calculations if they're missing it. And if actually they want, they can bring it back to the DBT. Multi-tabs dashboards. And big one, embedding. So you can use Lightdash to embed the stuff into your applications or the front end. There is a small asterisk here and it's yellow. It means this is not open source feature. I have to say that it's a cloud only and also comes with the extra prices, but that's how it is. But everything else is open source as well. So yeah, Lightdash been busy and basically thank you. Well done. If you have any questions, you can ask. Can we have a second? We need to record it. For the people at home.
I just wanted to know, I'm sorry if I missed it, but is Lightdash doing any caching to serve those views, or is it always hitting your Snowflake directly for those queries?
So Lightdash itself doesn't store any data. They just store metadata about the graphs, like, how you form them, like maybe filters and stuff, but no data. So basically it always hits your database. So if your database behind utilize some caching, obviously you're gonna leverage from it. In our case, well, Snowflake definitely does it. And it's not just Snowflake specific, obviously Lightdash works with other databases as well. So it depends on that, but we definitely see the quite big impact from the caching because I mean, there's one report obviously against some big table, let's say. And if there is like wave of the using this report and people like, yeah, first warming up a little bit, they even saying this, why it's like warming, it is warming up indeed. So then it's caching. So yeah.
Thanks for the presentation. I saw that you basically go to the model in the UI and then you create dashboards. But is there also like a dashboards as code function? And how does it work well or not?
One of the features I'm pushing really hard for, and there is no yet, but it's where is it? I actually have some Lightdash people here. They may even able to answer this. So if you actually can pass the microphone to this guy.
Yeah, it's coming. Dashboards, we have some plans for dashboards as code, or at least the functionality of the dashboards as code serves. Yeah.
That's Hamza, CEO of Lightdash. Thank you.
No worries.
Hey, thanks for all these insights. I have a question, like how, and I get how it supports like non-technical users to build dashboards on top of the pre-made DBT models. In our case, we have a pretty heterogeneous group of people right now we use Metabase. And the struggle is always to please both types of users, like let the people who know what SQL is and how to use it get to the raw data, but also serve the people who have no clue how to write a query to get their questions answered. How does Lightdash fit in here?
So the latter one probably covered already because not technical, right? So those who doesn't know, like they just can usually drag and drop. But for technical people, so we also have obviously technical users in the company, like our product people, our developer, they use that. Our SEO people, they not as technical, but they can write some code. So they also need to a little explanation why and how. So they are comfortable with SQL. And I actually was showing on the video, you didn't see, probably it was too fast. It also shows you SQL generates. So if you really want to, you can like copy that and like you really explore yourself, because there are some people that really love diving into SQL. Like I'm one of them. So it's faster for them. They actually, if they saw like, okay, this is like a model really prepared for you. So we have Google crawling logs, for example, like really huge table, like all the logs. And it's possible to like have all those attributes extracted yourself in SQL, sure, but we prepare the model because like commonly used use case, just like how look on the queries they care about, model it, and they even technical people, they once it's established what they want to look for, they go there and explore it. Also like our performance metrics, for example, for all the websites, we track it also with Snowplow. It's also possible, you always can go to SQL. And if something is not really modeled yet, those technical people, they just can copy the query and then just go there and like, play with this as well. Also, you can, in Lightdash, you have this, they call it SQL runner. You can actually write any query and place it in your dashboard if you want. Oh, we have one in-house question.
It's more of a comment than a question, but I thought it was really cool that you showed the internal users, and I think that's really a nice showcase that actually people started using these tools more, right? That's or one slide back, like the actual data. That like you saw actually internal users growing when you improved the tool, and I think that for picking internal tools where you want self-service, that's
so
the best chart you could have.
There are two aspects to this. First of all, yeah, you can see like we have this pretty flat usage of the O platform of almost maybe, I don't know, like half a year. And then we were introducing this, and obviously we communicate, we're gonna, shut down the old one. But I didn't really expect myself. I was quite surprised that like even like the 5th month, it was like about plus 15, 20% of the maximum before. And probably it's also has something to do that, yeah, the way we approach it, we changed the way we actually communicate and teach. So we went from this like data champions, like we didn't really teach like 100 people. We like show this like to 5, 10 people and have them really like understand why, so they can go to the team and they can shine. So data champions in the teams, and then because they know best the use cases in the team, like even better than us, so they can really develop, and they're happy because they are independent now and they can show and serve and help their team members. So that's actually how we had a probably high adoption. What was something else I want to say? Yeah, also actually we include Lightdash people themselves to the Slack channel of ours, and our end users can talk to them, which is also a pretty drastic difference to the previous pretty enterprise vendor we had. And our users are not being shy to use that, so like they're really harassing them. And I think there were some comments, I think, from the guy with the N, like you see top right, my main highlight is adaptivity of the service with the several new features requested being delivered quickly. So he actually requested something, and in a few weeks' time, they've done something. So, and for the previous platform, we had a ticket, pretty reasonable, I think. 2 years, nothing moved. And we had a ticket that's a pretty problem ticket. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. So like when I have dashboard, it's sometimes really useful to mark the graph. Let's say like we had a release, that's why we have the drop, for example, of the errors. And it's sometimes really helpful to really mark it and say, okay, this date is released, this is why we have this drop. Is it possible with the Lightdash? Because like I don't really see how I can express it in SQL.
Annotations, you mean? So you can really mark like a second Grafana, like boom, this we had like traffic drop,
draw
this is
the
what you want to
line.
have here. As far I know, no, but basically, I mean, good feedback probably for Lightdash people. One thing actually I also can say about Lightdash, you can have your own custom graph developed. So like if there is nothing in the library, you can have like there's some framework that you can use to develop your own graphs. So for example, if you want a really ugly pie chart and you really insist on this, you can really take it and do it yourself. But annotations out of the box, no, not yet. But you can put it in the GitHub, so they're definitely gonna, or maybe there is something already. So the comment from above, Paul is saying that there is alerts, so you actually can be alerted based on some KPIs and thresholds. It's not really annotations, but you can have alerts in. Yes, I know. Yeah. So this is annotations, and like you have like a chart, you see the traffic dropped, and you want to say this happened because of this. So like in half a year, you can go back and really see this. Yeah.
I have one more question because we were talking features already, and I was curious, where the limitations in terms of the types of charts that you can plot? Like two of the frequent use cases that we have is histograms and funnels, and I came to the conclusion that a lot of visualization tools reach their limits at those two. How is it for Lightdash?
Lightdash, I wouldn't say Lightdash is a really pixel perfect platform for reporting, and probably there are some that are more rich. And also, like they also in my memory, they added some new types. They added pie charts. I mean, I'm always making this joke. They didn't have them like a year ago. Someone really asked for that. So if there is no yet standard one, you definitely can ask for it. So if not, it's not like I'm really like bouncing this idea, because in my experience, there were like 2 or 3 features that I asked and I really explained why, and even escalate, and like they actually appeared like in 2-3 weeks time. So for example, in our evaluation, rollover security was missing. Told them clearly, we're not taking it because we cannot really do without rollover security. And like while still being testing other platforms, we reported back, okay, now we have it. Okay. And there was another one, Snowflake specific, for example, like you can really say that you can use this particular warehouse for this node that was missing for Snowflake. For us, it was a really big difference. They made this feature, and now we dropped our pricing for like in 3-4 times. So it's not like those are exceptions. So if there is like really high demand for something, you can escalate that and like be reasonable. I think they're gonna listen to you. also, as I just said, there is like this framework you can develop like this. I forgot the name of the framework. Vega. So you can use Vega to make this like describe the chart and fill the data that comes from your model with the Lightdash. So you can do whatever, maybe maps, let's say.
Thank you.
Any other question? Can I ask a question?
Sure.
When you decide to go with the metric definition internal of Lightdash, were you already using the DBT1? Was a migration in that case?
That's actually a good question because we were like a year ago, right? So like Q1, Q2, we were not using DBT metrics because we already knew they're gonna end soon. And DBT metrics v2, like semantic layer, was kind of in discussions, and all the there are several platforms that were saying that yeah, we're gonna support it, but it's not clear how exactly because like definition not really published yet. But they were like supporting DBT metrics like v1. But thing was clear that if you go for semantic layer, we need to go for DBT Cloud first. We were on core, and that's probably, yeah. DBT Core itself is a great product that solves all the issues we have. Like we have Airflow to schedule. We really didn't have any other reasons to go for DBT Cloud. But to be honest, we actually tried, like for the evaluation, we actually signed up for DBT Cloud, tried some other platforms that work with the DBT metrics. Back then was just v1, was super limited. And it was not really certain what semantic layer will actually bring. And then even if you actually go for DBT Cloud and semantic layer, you would risk a lot because you have another, let's say, vendor, which is, it's not open source. You cannot just, because semantics cannot work without DBT Cloud. If something has to happen to DBT Cloud, you're pretty much in troubles. So DBT Core will not go anyway because it's open source, right? And also it was not really clear how exactly you do things in semantics. There was some just generic ideas, and we had to decide, back then. Right now, DBT semantic layer is supported by Lightdash. So if you want DBT Cloud, probably makes sense just to go and stick to it. But I didn't want to really go to DBT Cloud just for this. It was also not really clear, and we had to decide by summer because we had to retire this particular platform. But also semantics in Lightdash was, I think, I can't really explain details, but how it compares to the semantic layer, maybe Hamza can. But overall, all our complex use cases, our metrics, it's not just sum and average and minimum. We had some semi-additive or non-additive KPIs we had to merge with the additive ones in the different granularities. Actually, we managed to do that with the Lightdash. And so our use cases were covered. And so it was not a big deal. So we went for basically meta tag way. And also, like, technically speaking, nothing really stops us from actually moving away from managed solution Lightdash to self-hosts, because just saying, Hamza.
I have another question, but do you have any, let's say, complaint? I mean, when you have to define the metrics in this way with the meta tag, I think this is not something that the end user can do. Do you have any complaint about the fact that this operation maybe takes too much time for your user there? Because I mean, with a lot of tools where you have this centralized metadata, sometimes there is.
It's actually not a complaint. It's something we were aiming for. We wanted to be those who define those metrics and own them and maintain them. Because if you give too much freedom to the end users, they will come up with different implementations for the same thing. And they can still do table calculations, obviously, but those that they can pull from the DBT, from the meta, those that we developed by BA, I'm actually fine with us maintaining them, because and it's not really like how much time it takes you to copy paste and say it's count this thing. Or like, okay, some complex ones you need to spend some time, think about it, how exactly you implement, but it's in the code. It's not really a big deal. And it's logic as a code here, so it's like you don't need to go in, like, for example, in previous platform you have to go visually somewhere and change things, and yeah, you can't really roll back if you want, and here you have a history. So I don't complain. That was kind of partially a goal. So BI is maintaining this, and on top of that we have source control, we have readability, and basically governance.
So this would fit pretty nicely into the stack that I have right now, but I have one other need, which is that we have more, it seems like maybe you're using this mostly internally. We have customers using we have a Tableau based setup, basically in the same way. And we've been using the users session information to do row-based access control so that we build one dashboard and the customer can only see their data, not any other data. Do you have any experience can it pass it? All we would need is to be able to pass in the email of the user or the username of the user along with the query to Snowflake. Is that something that's possible?
It's a very good question, and I'm very happy you asked this because there was another slide here about the worth noted features. So the Lightdash that I dropped because there was a bit too much content. I mean, you can actually probably see it from here. Here. So Lightdash has a feature you can create as many projects as you want, first of all. And I personally didn't realize this use case when we were evaluating, just realized afterwards, we already signed in. But, and it's not like I'm gonna get to this rollover security thing in a moment, but just, so you can create as many projects as you want, and then you have separate access control to all of them. So we have actually projects for our, well, I would not say names, client 1, client 2, client 3. Those are real external users that actually come in there and accessing this. We pay nothing for that. It's you can actually have as many projects as you want. And it doesn't mean you have to need to get like multiple DBT projects. You have one and you just like control with the tags, which models you push to which particular project, okay? And then like those models, you can already like in models itself, like isolate, for example, this client's data, okay? That's first. But then we do have actually internally within like in our internal usage, we have role security requirements because our campaign managers, they work with the clients and they cannot really see the data from other campaign managers, even within the company. Within the company. And as I also mentioned, role security was not a thing when we were evaluating, and I said them clearly, it's not there, we cannot use it. So they made the first iteration. I was not really like, it's super flexible, but they also like iterate after that. So there are several ways you can actually how you can implement the low level security, either using the groups. So like you say, this person in this group, and then you can use attributes of this group to filter your skill query. So you can say this model joins, for example, on this one is like inner join, and like you say, this is a filter. Or there's always filter. It doesn't matter if there are joins, whatever. It's always there. And then you use attributes of the group. That's one case. There is another one which is not there yet, but I'm also kind of pushing for this, and it's also coming. You can use also email, right? So as a user email as an attribute, and then you can always join a table with the permissions. So like it's always inner join. Doesn't matter if you pull anything, and then going to be using email as a filter. So it's like the table, access table maintained externally, then you don't even need to add people. Yes, well, in somewhere, right? So like you see CMS that actually pulls somewhere or Snowflake, and then basically always data joins to this table by email. And this is how you can implement it.
Thanks.